Hello to all our magical listeners. We are Marie and Kate. Together, we love to chat about mindful magic. Mindful magic is intentionally, mindfully traveling through each day, each task, every little mundane thing you need to do with a magical mindset. Let's get magical and start this episode.
Hello, witches, and welcome back to Mindful Magic, where we add magic to the mundane and pull back the pages of the past until the skeletons do a little dance. I'm Kate.
And I'm Marie. Today we're talking witch trials, yes, but also land, property, power. And why? For so long, women have been handed the short end of the patriarchal stick.
Yes, every season we will always talk about the Salem witch trials, the attack on women for being healers and have beyond the veil knowledge that the church wanted to stomp out. And by church, we mean the patriarchy.
Absolutely. So here we are, Massachusetts, 1692. We have accusations, spectral evidence, fear of the devil. Tragically, innocent people died, but underneath, something more cunning was happening.
Land disputes and rivalries. Boundaries between Salem Village, Topsfield, and surrounding lands were fuzzy. Neighbors fought over titles and inheritance. Widows, women without a powerful male heir, sat right at the fault line. Accuse a woman, lock her up, bury her in fees, and suddenly she can't defend the homestead.
Right. So here's the part of that history often leaves out. So during the Salem witch trials, Sheriff George Corwin seized household goods, livestock, and cash from accused families as cases dragged on, well beyond what the law strictly allowed. One of the wealthiest merchants in Salem, Philip English, who was himself accused in 1692, as was his wife Mary, much of his property was taken. And after the trials, he pursued restitution and clashed with Corwin's estate over what had been lost. Local lore even claims that Philip English refused to allow Corwin's burial until property disputes were addressed. So he kind of sat on his corpse, figuratively speaking. A story that's more legend than record, but it reflects the resentment that Corwin inspired. Years later, Massachusetts attempted to repair the damage by overturning convictions and paying partial compensations. Still, many families never recovered what they lost, and the wound in the community ran far deeper than the restitution could reach. Seizures often happened back then before conviction, which was outside the law, effectively turning accusations into a chance to profit.
Wow. And the Joshua Ward House in Salem, built in 1784, this stands on the site where High Sheriff George Corwin's house once stood. Actually, George Washington stayed there in 1789. Corwin did seize goods from accused families during the witch trials, and though there's no proof he confiscated land there, the house sits on ground tied to that legacy. So it's a visceral reminder that witchcraft accusations weren't just about fear, they were also bound up with property, power, and profit.
So, zooming out a bit, this wasn't only Salem. In Connecticut, the prosperous widow Catherine Harrison was hounded out of Wethersfield. And in parts of Germany, like Würzburg and Bamberg, rulers explicitly confiscated the property of executed quote unquote witches. Different laws, same current. Fear plus accusation plus power equals dispossession.
So, yes, legal, religious, and social horror, but economics ran through the web like an iron thread.
Right. So, why women's power got pushed out and pushed down and under? Salem is one scene in a longer play. Property and inheritance laws stacked against women. casting widows and independent women as easy targets. Narratives that framed bold, successful women as quote unquote unnatural, and institutions enforcing rules that left them powerless, ensuring wealth and authority stayed firmly in men's hands.
It reminds me of Grandma Augie in Halloween Town High, which I watched for the first time the other day with the kids. I've seen Halloween Town, but not the second one. And the one thing that caught my attention, because I was kind of just walking around the house while they were watching, she says, "So, welcome to history," because she was teaching a class. She says, "Welcome to history, though modern fiction might be more apt title," which I could feel that when she said it. I don't know what it was, but it was like that was from the 90s, like early 90s. And there was like, I don't know. It just got to me. So like
Yeah.
even Grandma Augie says,
Right, I know, how cute. Modern fiction, right. The history books are written how they want you to view history and not always as it actually was.
his story.
Yep, his story. Exactly. If you're a modern healer, a reader, a medium, or a witch, and you freeze when you go to post something, price out your work, even sign a lease, possibly, or even set a boundary, that can be old persecution programming that's surfacing. The if I'm seen, I'll be seized reflex. The stigma is still very real. People still generally clutch their pearls at the mention of witches.
Yeah. So you could try our three-part kind on the nervous system approach. So name, ground, transmute.
I know, I love this. It's so simple. We just, again, we try to instill magic in the mundane. So we try to make things simple, things you can do kind of on the fly or within your busy work schedule. So what Kate's talking about is name it, acknowledge it, and identify it. Say softly to yourself, what's happening right now? Maybe something like when I quote my rate, my chest feels tight. For those of us who own our own businesses or do a little hustle on the side, when I try to set my prices, why does my chest feel tight? Or when I share my work, I feel exposed. Saying it out loud helps to unlock the fear, the stigmas we live under still, and opens it to the light so we can heal it.
Right. I've experienced that. The feeling exposed,
Yeah.
definitely. So
Oh, yeah.
ground it.
I
Yeah.
definitely keep I know you do too. We kind of keep our work and professional life separate than our spiritual life because there's just this stigma still, and
Yeah.
we're trying to dispel that as well.
Yeah. So you can ground it. So grounding it is so you drop your shoulders, feel your feet, like really feel them. I always envision roots coming out of my feet when I do this. One hand on your heart, one hand on your belly or the solar plexus area. Slowly exhale for a count of 8. Let your jaw soften and exhale for a count of 6. So tell your body we're safe, we're here now, and we get to choose.
I love that, and I think you meant to say inhale. I wrote
Oh
our
yeah.
notes wrong. Don't don't just exhale, you actually need to take air into your body. You cannot only exhale. Yes.
You guys get what I mean.
Yes, yes, but can you imagine? You try to
Yeah.
exhale for 8 and then exhale for another 6, and
No
you're
way,
like,
not here.
"I'm turning blue." I don't think that's what they meant.
So
So,
inhale for the count of 8, and then exhale for 6.
I love it. I love it. We always have to laugh at ourselves, right?
Oh yeah,
Bring bring the
definitely.
light into it. So, once you ground yourself, then you can transmute it. Let that old fear go. Claim your power, witch. Try a few rounds of EFT, the emotional freedom techniques. You know what this is, Kate? Yeah. The tapping.
Yeah. Sorry, my daughter knocked on the door. Yes, and
Yeah.
I do this.
So,
Yeah.
no, yeah, so the tapping technique, and you guys can look it up. We did discuss this in another episode. I won't go fully into it, but you just sort of especially along some of your meridians. You can look this up, the Chinese medicine, the ones for personal power and release and emotion. So you can do a few rounds of tapping really quickly. You can even do vocal toning, like a good strong ohm, to just help release it out into the universe, or even a tiny bowl burning release. And again, for the EFT tapping, the emotional freedom techniques, just tap even under your breastbone, like at your solar plexus for self power. And then you can do the sides of your nose under your eyes for some emotional release. And you can even speak an affirmation like this: I am powerful and I am safe. My gifts are welcome. My work is well paid, and my lineages are free.
I love that, Marie. I do that. I do the tapping intuitively sometimes too. I just start tapping like
Hmm.
lightly, like my neck, my chest, under my armpits sometimes. Like I I I love that. It really does help.
Oh, it does. You know what
And
I just got, another joke when you said under the armpits, I imagined, Molly Shannon, like, Superstar.
totally. Yep.
Yeah.
Superstar. And there's the affirmation right there.
Yep, that's true.
Um so is there anything else you want to add to that, Marie? I love the tapping. I with the affirmations too.
No, I think I do that, I think some of us just do that intuitively, too. It's just, you know, quickly ground yourself if you feel like any of those old fears, coming to the surface or giving you pause at all, especially when it comes to anything you want to put out into the world, whether it's your work, your business, your spirituality. I mean, we're still working on it too, but ground it and then transmute it.
Yep.
Do something simple, and then it will eventually become second nature.
Yes. Yes. And while you're doing this, if past life images arise, like witch huts, courtrooms, cold stone, and I've experienced even pressure, like from your death, like around your neck,
Mhm.
drowning. So those type of impressions. So bless that version of you. So you can say, thank you for surviving. I carry you into safety. And let your present day body be the sanctuary she didn't have. We honor the dead and what our female ancestors went through, what they endured for simply living with the natural cycles and being healers and seers.
Right? That's it exactly. Those of us who believe in past lives and believe that we do have, we lived in those times, we're just trying to heal through lineage, heal through bloodlines, heal through memory. So now we're going to do a little exploring of the archetypes of witches: the maiden, the mother, and the crone, figures that appear throughout mythology, folklore, and still modern witchcraft.
Yes, the maiden represents youth, new beginnings, curiosity, and potential. She is the spark of adventure and independence, full of energy and possibility. The mother embodies nurturing, creation, and growth. She is associated with fertility, responsibility, and the cycle of life, offering guidance and protection.
And the crone symbolizes wisdom, transformation, and endings. She carries the knowledge of experience, insight, and the mysteries of death and renewal. Together, these three archetypes reflect the stages of a woman's life, the cycles of nature, and the rhythms of personal growth, reminding us that every phase has its own power and purpose. And the maiden, the mother, and the crone archetypes are not strictly about biological childbearing. We have to be clear on that. Though they do often overlap with the themes of fertility and life cycles. But Kate, can you talk about how they relate?
Yes. So the maiden represents potential, beginnings, and independence. So she may be fertile in a physical sense, but her quote, childbearing aspect is more symbolic. So she embodies the capacity to create, start new projects, or bring ideas to life rather than literal motherhood. And then we have the mother, so most directly associated with childbearing and nurturing. So this archetype encompasses biological motherhood, but also broader forms of creation and care, raising children, mentoring, supporting communities, or bringing ideas or projects into fruition.
Right. And then the crone, often beyond childbearing, there's a reason why I'm reading this part. Focusing instead on wisdom, guidance, and transformation. She represents the later stages of life, where nurturing takes the form of teaching, advising, and passing on knowledge rather than raising children physically. Hey, I resemble that remark. Just kidding. I'm so young, I should be a zygote. Truly, at least in my brain.
So, these archetypes are as much about life stages, energy, and roles in the world as they are about actual fertility or biological motherhood. Someone could resonate with the mother archetype without ever having children, or embrace crone energy even in middle age, which I totally do. I can feel that one.
Oh, yeah, and it's interesting, if you are tuned in throughout your lifetime, you can feel the transformation of one stage to the other, and that's to be honored because it's natural. So, I think we're gonna start a segment for us crones, women who aren't the spring chickens, mothers and women who aren't childbearing any longer. And I'm not talking about the version of a crone that's like a withered old woman. Some women start to lose their hormones in their 30s, and their perimenopause lasts for years and years. And this is a horrible thing, and that's why we're kind of doing this segment, um chatting about women and just the different phases and transformations. So, um, I have a friend who has been in perimenopause, I mean, like, documented by her doctor since for, like, 20 years, and it's been horrible. So, let's talk about some hormone replacement therapy. I really wanted to talk about this because it's something that I've started, I needed to. Um, so hormone replacement therapy, or just shortened HRT, and why for decades it was almost invisible in women's healthcare. HRT is designed to replace hormones like estrogen and progesterone that naturally decline with age or near or after menopause. It can help with hot flashes, sleep, bone density, mood, libido, and just the overall quality of life. Ladies, please don't suffer. Go get your hormone levels checked and checked early. There's no need to suffer. I honestly believe that getting COVID affected my hormones. I think that sent me into early everything, that plus the vaccine maybe, but we'll leave that for another time. We will talk about the long COVID I have in another episode because that has been a journey, and I think there is a whole bunch there with I think losing hormones, Kate, but yeah,
Sure.
we'll leave that for another episode.
Marie, I feel like I can feel that phase, like, because I'm 37 tomorrow. So tomorrow's my birthday. I'm going to be 37, but I can feel that shift starting. And I even talked to my doctor about it. I'm like, I'm having all these symptoms. Like, I know something's changing. Like, I can feel it.
Mhm.
And she wouldn't even really listen to it because she says I'm kind of too young, which I understand. But I can feel that my body changing, and like just I can just feel the shift. So I
Yeah.
wanted to mention that you mentioned the feeling the shift, and I can totally feel it starting.
Right. And so I want to really advocate for women in the healthcare system because I had a hard time finding a hormone doctor, a doctor. Now, your OB can do this, but sometimes I don't know where all of our listeners are, but getting doctor's appointments is sometimes can just take months and months. And when you're going through something, you kind of need something now. So I I was having a hard time finding a hormone doctor. I knew that I had 0 estrogen, people. I got all this testing done when I was going through a long COVID clinic, and when I was like, "Yeah, throw the hormones in there too." Um, my estrogen was like 0. I like, and a woman is not supposed to be at 0, at least maybe, if you're 90 and you're not taking therapies anymore. I don't know when, is a good time to stop. I'll learn that later on, but, um that explains so much, and so I personally just ended up, paying out of pocket and just going specifically to an online virtual, type of telehealth appointment with a specific hormone doctor. And I will tell you, um, the difference I felt the very first day I got my hormones back in my body. So it's real. Please get tested early and push the issue if you need to.
Well, I'm so glad that you found what you needed, sister. Like to have a level of zero. I mean, and then I'm just so glad that you have what you need and you're feeling better. That's
I
amazing. So,
know your body has this your whole life, and then I went because I had them tested before and they were normal, and it was literally within 6 months that they nose dove to zero. And I really think COVID had something to do with that. And my COVID doctor does too. So anyway, that's separate than what normal people go through. But yeah, I'm glad too. Thank you, sister.
yeah. So we'll move on then. I love that you brought all that up. So here's the thing. So for much of the 20th century, access to HRT was tightly restricted. Why? Partly because medical research focused almost exclusively on men. So clinical trials on women were rare, and the health system often dismissed women's symptoms as hysteria or a normal part of aging. Cultural and institutional biases meant women were denied treatments that could improve their lives, while male focused care advanced rapidly. So, even today, the conversation around hormone treatment is cautious, sometimes controversial, but understanding this history is key. It's a reminder of how medicine and power intersect and why women's health has long been treated as secondary.
Oh, I can't. I'm tripping over that. What you said that the healthcare system often dismissed women's symptoms as hysteria. Like,
Ugh, I know. I know.
anyway, we're slowly moving the needle over. So,
That's our
back,
witch wound.
what's that?
Our witch, one of our witch wounds.
Right. Exactly. That we're getting through. Yeah. They're healers and seers. They must be hysterical and they must be hanged. Good God.
Yeah. And I
So,
also feel like when I think of like that time period, I think of like being like suppressed. Like you can't be who you are. Like when you're afraid that you're going to be um, admitted for hysteria. It's like I think that triggers me too. My grandmother, she was in hospitals because of for mental things, and like I think that part of it is from her. Like when I think of hysteria, I think it also touches on that witch wound for me. Does that make sense?
completely, because if you are looked at like that at all, you all of your power, all of your rights are immediately taken away, and that is
Right.
terrifying. That is absolutely terrifying. So yeah, yeah, absolutely, and thank you for bringing that up. So back in the 1970s and 80s, so estrogen therapy became widely used to help women through menopause. But this type of estrogen was synthetic and manufactured using pregnant mare urine, female horses. So, but studies sometimes misunderstood or misreported suggested a link between estrogen and breast cancer. So, what wasn't fully explained at the time was that the risk depends on the type of hormone, the combination used, the dose, and when it started. Combined estrogen and progestin therapy carried some risk, but while estrogen only therapy, especially for younger postmenopausal women, turned out to be much safer. And I will say, that I was scared to try hormone replacement therapy because I had heard that taking estrogen increases your risk for cancer. I remember hearing that. It's just been around for so long. So I had to do my own research and learn differently. And in talking to this hormone doctor, my telehealth was really uh help dispel all of those old fears and like, I don't know. Anyway, so the fear caused a lot of women to avoid therapies, replacement therapies altogether, leaving many to suffer with severe symptoms. So today we know that bioidentical natural hormones, which are chemically identical to what the body produces, can be safer and more effective than the synthetic options for many women. They're designed to work with your body, not against it, reducing side effects and tailoring treatment to individual needs. So the therapy hormone replacement therapy isn't a one size fits all solution, but modern evidence based therapies offer relief, protections for bones and the heart. Cardiovascular health is important, and a chance to reclaim your quality of life without the fear of old myths. So, again, ladies, you do not have to suffer. I suffered thinking it was something else because the symptoms came on like gradually, I mean, my hormone levels took a nosedive, but the symptoms came on gradually, so I didn't know what it was. So we're just saying get your hormones checked and then follow your doctor's care plan.
Yes. And I think, like you were mentioning earlier, Marie, I love all of this, and we're gonna have to start making the Crohn's Corner a segment on the episodes because I love all this.
Yes.
We're going to get into some cycle breaking and home protection. So, back to the witch trials. If worldly goods, cash, and in certain cases, land were the prize, then the ground is the medicine. So, let's break a cycle and we're going to set a ward.
I love this. So
Yes.
this is just a short mini ritual, again, infusing magic into your everyday life in a very easy way. So you can grab a stone from your yard or even a little bowl of soil will do. A teaspoon of salt and a candle. Any candle you like, unless you have a special one. Make a small circle of salt and place the stone inside. And if you have a bowl of soil, just make a little hole for a little indention for the stone and set it there. Light your candle and say, by flame, by earth, by spirit, by hand, I stand in my power. I claim my land. None may seize, none may sway. My will is strong. I hold my way. Then press the stone to your sternum, your breastbone. Feel roots drop from your feet and into the center of the earth. And imagine your home wrapped in a soft, living boundary. And when you're done, put this same stone by your door and remember to touch it to reactivate the blessing. Kate, remember we had a episode about that.
Yes. That was 2 episodes ago. I love that one. That was the decorating with intention. This goes great. If you still have to decorate, that would be a great thing to do. I love that. It's beautiful and it's simple. And I love the reactivating, but just by touching it.
Yep.
So, an everyday layer. So, we're going to share an everyday layer, a threshold tea for your home. So, our property protector potion. I love that. Nettle for strength, dandelion for detox, rosemary for memory and protection, cinnamon for brave circulation, lemon balm to calm, steep in hot water for 3 to 5 minutes, sweeten with a touch of honey or stevia, then sip and affirm. I claim my place, my space, my voice. No fear, no force can steal my choice. And I will share these so you can save them. Here's another important tip. Know your rights. Make sure you are correct and legal name is on all deeds and accounts. And teach your kids of every gender how to hold land and all property ethically and share power moving forward.
I love that. And for the
Hmm.
tea, you can do just like a half a teaspoon or a teaspoon each, make your own potion. We didn't specifically put the amounts in there because it's just fun to make your own. Right, Kate?
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Like
So,
for me, I'd probably add a lot of extra cinnamon. That's because it
yeah,
just depends on what you prefer. It's the
cinnamon.
intention.
Yep, it's the intention, and you guys can look up those. They have also other properties too, but I love that tea. I love that tea, and
Mhm.
you can also make it into an iced tea, which is nice. So today we want to pause to honor the women, the men, and even sometimes the children who were falsely accused and or executed during the witch trials. These weren't just names in a ledger. They were mothers, they were neighbors, friends, and they were community members whose lives were cut short by fear, suspicion, and injustice. Remembering them isn't just about history, it's about acknowledging the cost of hysteria, of prejudice, and of unchecked power. By telling their stories and keeping their memory alive, we bear witness to their humanity and recommit ourselves to justice, compassion, and vigilance in our own communities.
Yes, love it. Um, so we're going to bring this, it says bringing it home. This is our next segment. Salem shows what happens when fear, property, and power mix. So today we choose differently. We choose that no one loses land, rights, or dignity because of superstition or gender.
That's right. And if this resonated, take a picture, take a photo of your warded stone, your stone you did the ritual with or threshold salt line and tag us. And if you felt a witch wound wake up, try the name, ground, and transmute and let us know how it shifted. We are so interested to hear from our listeners and our viewers, and we want to know that you're engaged and if anything that we're doing is touching you.
Yes. Or any topics that you want us to cover too. If there's anything that you want to learn more about or anything, if you want to share your stories, we would love to hear them. So, do you want to add anything else, Marie, before we
No,
close? I'm going to,
I think
okay.
that's
Well, thank
beautiful.
you. Yes. Well, thank you for joining us on Mindful Magic Podcast. If you enjoyed this, tell your friends, especially the ones you think power dynamics are just how things are. Change always starts with noticing.
That's right. Noticing and acknowledging. And don't
Mhm.
forget to love and subscribe so you can grab your dark half of the year grimoire that we're offering. Send us a screenshot that you've subscribed to our YouTube channel at Mindful Magic Channel, and we will email you a PDF copy. And you can email us at magic, at mindfulmagicchannel@gmail.com.
All
And
right. Thanks, everyone.
we'll see you next time.
If you have any questions or topics you would like to hear Marie and I discuss, please comment below, send us a message, or reach out to us on Instagram. We like to close each episode with a moment of mindfulness. Take a deep breath and think about what you're grateful for today. We're now going to bless everything that you're grateful for and let your higher self and guides know that you are open for even more blessings. We bid you farewell until we meet again. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. We hope your day is filled with love, happiness, undeniable signs, and mindful magic. You can check out Marie's handmade candles, soaps, lotions, and more at kitchenwitchhawaii.com, and you can follow her on Instagram. You can book an angel reading with me, check out my books, and sign up for our angel magic community at katewhitneyofficial.com. And be sure to follow Mindful Magic on YouTube at Mindful Magic Channel. We are also on Facebook and Instagram. If you have any questions,